Welcome to episode 1 of WCW 2000, the year that was entertaining, shall we say. I am joined by my co-host, Mr. DJ King.
The whole point of this show is that it wasn't entertaining. This is the downfall of WCW. This is the worst period, the darkest timeline of being a WCW fan, which I will hold my hands up and say at this point that I was up until this point.
Was it not entertaining? Was it not so bad? It was entertaining.
No, it was just bad.
Yeah. Well, this is where we may disagree. I find I love really shit stuff. It entertains the crap out of me, kind of thing. So yeah. Anyway, obviously, Mr. DJ King will be joining me with every episode. We're gonna suffer this journey together. But in episode 1, we are joined by Mr. Bobby Cash. Dude, how are we doing? You good?
I'm doing well. I mean, Kingy lad, I think 2000 is bad, but this show,
it's got its moments. It's got its moments, but there's some seriously poor takes in this show.
Oh, I've got some terrible takes. You just wait.
From a wrestling fan standpoint, from a wrestling promoter, booker standpoint, Jesus Christ, what were they thinking?
I will say, just for this disclaimer, I wasn't a WCW viewer at the time. I mean, I was 9 when this show came out. Sorry. Yeah,
I think I need to correct myself a little bit there. I'd fallen off maybe in about 99 with WCW.
So
around about the point that Jericho left was probably when I was 100% switched over and wasn't watching WCW at that point.
So I didn't watch any of this.
Yes, same.
So obviously I know how it ends and I know what the big things that happened throughout this year, but I'm watching a lot of this stuff for the first time. Stuff I've never seen before. Guys I've never actually watched before. I know who they are. I'm not that daft, but it's I'm going into everything with an open mind and entertain me and a new consumer.
One of the reasons why I agreed to do this show was because I've never watched all of these pay-per-views. I've seen the odd match and I know what went on in this year, and like as you said yourself, Bob, but I haven't watched any full WCW pay-per-views from 2000. So this was my first. Sold Out was my starting point.
I've seen Starrcade 97 from start to finish. This is the only other full WCW pay-per-view I've ever seen from start to finish.
You're missing out on some absolutely cracking stuff in 97, 98. Absolutely amazing. WCW was in its prime, 97, 98.
I'm a big OSW review fan, huge. And they've done a few WCW arcs. So I don't class that as obviously counting as watching the pay-per-views, but it's as good as it's going to get. So I've seen the majority of them.
But you've
never actually sat and watched one.
You know about the highs. Well, I'm assuming this year is going to be a lot of the lows.
Yes, I've personally requested that you will see me again for Slamboree.
Yep.
But that's 5 months from now.
This was the first show of the year 2000. And it got off to a very shaky start straight away. The whole card pretty much got changed on the night due to Bret Hart's concussion and not being in the main event, and Jeff Jarrett getting food barred by Snooker and Benoit on the week a few days earlier. So obviously the 3 stages match was meant to be Jeff Jarrett versus Benoit. It ended up being Billy Kidman against members of the Revolution. So straight away, I mean, I don't know if you guys picked up on it, but at the very start, I was howling at Heenan, just looking through his paperwork, trying to figure out what the fucking hell was going on.
Well, just to say, I just showed you this before we started recording, but just to show you how seriously I've taken this. This is my notes app. This is my notes for this show. I just put my thoughts as they came to my head. Can we swear on this?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh God, yeah.
My first paragraph, well, my first 3 lines of this show, before anything's happened, talking, Mike's there, Tony Schiavone, Bobby Heenan, and they're trying to keep you up to date with everything. It's impossible. Anyway, my first injuries, ! All caps. Fuck Goldberg.
Second.
Benoit concusses Jeff Jarrett by headbutting his shoulder somehow. Benoit was probably the one who was concussed, but no one would know it.
Yeah, I think it kind of came out later. It was Snooker. I think it was the Snooker bump.
Oh, was it actually?
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't show, but I also have a notepad full, but I'm currently recording on the same device. Yeah, because my first note literally said, "Why is Billy Kidman wrestling everyone?" Now I understand that it was a shoot book, it was an on the fly, quick change booking, but WCW still had an incredibly deep roster at this point. I'm sure there was a couple more guys we could have fit onto that pay-per-view and not had Billy Kidman wrestle the whole of the Radicals and job them all out, by the way.
So I didn't watch any of the. I didn't watch the show beforehand. I didn't watch any of the nitros or anything like that before the show. So I'm going to say, Nick, can you explain why Billy Kidman's wrestling 3 times, please?
I can. I know the answer to this because I watched the Kevin Sullivan interview about the pay-per-view. Basically, yeah, after what happened with Jarrett, they had to reshuffle. Sullivan was a big fan of Kidman. He kind of thought he was on the verge of, becoming a main eventer. This is Sullivan's words. And he kind of wanted to give him that push, give him that rub. It was his way of saying thank you. And it was also a way of making up amends for Hogan's comments of he couldn't draw in a flea market.
Okay.
They're
trying to elevate.
It's ways to push a guy, then go and have 3 matches tonight.
So yeah, it's like, here you go. Let's punish the fans who have to watch him wrestle thrice.
Yeah, as well.
Oh no, it's not him. I'll just say off the bat before we get into his matches later on, it's not him. He's fine.
But you say 3 times. Technically, the first match was 5 minutes. Malenko forgot the rules. Obviously, so yeah, first match, Billy Kidman, Dean Malenko, catches catch can, which is just a random ass name for a match. Obviously, stipulate the rules. You leave the ring, you touch the floor, match over.
We should have told Malenko that was the rule before the match started, because this just went to shit very quickly.
Someone must have told him. He must have known. Because this match is catered for him. The thing is, as well, is catch as catch can is as far, correct me if I'm wrong, but it's a style of wrestling where you don't use the ropes. You everything's in the middle. It's grappling basically, and roll out to the ring. I mean, it's literally a couple of arm drags, couple of this, that, and the other from Kidman, and then he just rolls out of the ring like you naturally would as a heel.
Yeah, it's instinctive. He just rolls out.
I'll just say my note on this is, fuck's sake, Dean. Now I ask you.
Last time you saw him as well, that was his last match in WCW.
Yeah, because he left the next day too.
Yep.
I say, I'll ask you. I'll throw this out to you though. What's worse, Dean Malenko fucking the first match, or having to watch 3 Billy Kidman matches?
I mean, when you put it that way, Dean Malenko did us all a service by just fucking up on that match early. He took down the Billy Kidman watching time.
I enjoyed. We'll get to it down the line, but I enjoyed the second match. But that might be down to Perry Saturn more than Kidman. I like Saturn.
My other note was to say, well done to Charles Robinson, the ref, because it would have been the most WCW thing ever to just continue the match like nothing happened. Charles Robinson did his job.
He just went, no.
And you're always told as a ref to call the match as a shoot.
Yeah.
He left the ring, touched the get out. So,
I'll just say time. So again, Charles Robinson, we salute you.
Yeah. And you can physically see in Billy Kidman's face that he is furious. Like, and he's also a bit perplexed.
Potentially on paper, that's Kidman's chance to shine. If he can get like a good match if anyone's going to get a good match out of him, it's going to be Malenko. So I'd be furious as well.
Out of the 3 matches that Kidman had, if there was going to be a match that people would have talked about later on, if it had been a proper match, would have been him and Malenko.
Yeah,
Malenko has that. Malenko has that match with Scotty 2 Hotty in like 2 months from now.
Yeah.
Backlash, or 2 or 3 months from now. And that did great stuff for him. So sorry, I interrupted you there.
You're literally just reaffirming my point, though, Bob, because literally that match could have made Billy Kidman as a fucking technical wrestler, because you put someone in there with Malenko, they have a good match with Malenko. That's the kind of way that travels. Did it for Ray in the early days of WCW. It did it for fucking Jericho. All these guys went on to be big names after having really good matches and feuds with Dean Malenko.
Yeah. So anyway, after that one, let's get to the insanity that was Vampiro, Crowbar, and the other Nate Jr. or Little Nate, David Flair.
You even need to check my notes for this one. I know I can remember exactly what I wrote for this. Crowbar is in the wrong wrestling company. David Flair is in the wrong business. And Daphne is just incredible at what she does. Was absolutely perfect. But yeah, Crowbar, fantastic. If he'd have been signed to WWE, he'd have been much more of a household name than he was, because he'd have fit in perfectly in that proper hardcore division, not the watered down WCW shit that we'll talk about later on.
I put a really similar thing to you in my notes. Daphne rules. Crowbar is cool. David Flair is GCSE drama.
And Vampiro?
Honestly, Vampiro is fine. But what I'm saying about David, that's fine. He's fine. David Flair. How can they say they say that the apple doesn't fall too far from the tree. This one was fucking launched.
What happens when that tree gets caught in a tornado?
That one's in Tampa right now. Fucked off. Honestly, it cannot. The only thing that David Flair has, that Ric Flair also has, is bleached blonde hair. It's unbelievable how. Because the thing is, right? It's David Flair wrestles like he's literally in his first month of wrestling training. Where he's waiting. If you're Trevor trained to wrestle, he's waiting for the guy to hit him, as opposed to it naturally happening. He turns into a, King, you know what I'm talking about. He turns into it and he's getting hit and stuff like that. But he's there and it's just really
it's exactly what you did. The jaw goes up, the chin comes out. He's bracing himself, waiting to take a dig.
And you can see him as well. I think when you look at people in backstage interviews and they're not talking, and you look at them of what they're doing when they're not being interviewed, speaks a lot. When Mean Gene was interviewing Crowbar, Daphne was all for it. She was doing what, but David Flair's just stood there with his crowbar like this. And then when Gene asked him a question, it's right, I need to act crazy now. Daphne, you can be convinced that she's crazy, God rest her and all that. But David Flair, it's just weird.
It's you got it perfect to start with, but it's GCSE acting. It's incredibly amateur. It's fair to say, he had big shoes to fill. He did. His dad was the greatest wrestler of all time. Fucking one of, will go down in history as one of the most famous wrestlers to ever do it. And, he's a wrestler's wrestler and all that. And he was never going to be his dad. Fuck me, could he have got any further away?
Even the figure four.
He can't work. Fuck, oh man. He can't act.
He can't bump either. I don't want to sit here and rag on David Flair.
Yeah, I know. He's shitting on him for ages, but I can't find any positives.
I don't think that he was also in it. His heart wasn't in it. He just did it because I think he wanted to impress his dad. And I think it was his 2000. Where's Flair at this point?
No, this is well after him getting sacked thing, and then they're bringing him back, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was 98. That was.
Yeah, because this is post Insane Asylum Flair.
Yeah. Yeah, I think he might have just had an injury, or he does come back soon within the next few months, because it all kicks off between him and Russo, and Russo adopts David and all that kind of bollocks. So
he wrestles for the world. He wrestles for the world title in like 2 weeks.
There you go.
Like I'm pretty certain that we'll get to it towards the end, but I'm pretty sure Flair wrestles for the belt and wins it within the next 2 or 3 weeks, 4 weeks maybe.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. It's a WCW.
About the match itself. Not that I'm taking over here, Nick. I just want to ask. What was this? Was this a triple threat match, or was it a 2-on-1 handicap match? Because I know that they do that sometimes, but
was billed as a triple threat.
Yeah.
Why?
Because it was meant to be a tag team match. I think Vampiro's partner got taken out previously, and then he said, "Right, I just want them both. I'll take them on." He sort of said, "I'll take them on like a handicap," and then they just made it a triple threat. So it was just to heighten the drama. Should David and Crowbar want to fight over pinfalls? I don't know. So WCW or Dick Man.
But again, they didn't do that, though. They literally treated the whole match like a handicap match right until the end, and then there was the tiny little bit of friction between the two, and then Vampiro wins. The sloppiest wrestler to ever come out of Canada wins.
Can we just point out as well that David Flair and Crowbar were the World Tag Team Champions at this point? David Flair has been the World Champion and the US Champion. Is he the worst wrestler to ever? Right, 2000. We know where it goes. Okay? We're not stupid. Is he the worst wrestler to be a champion?
I think he actually, for me, he may be worse than David Arquette.
Oh, that's not even a competition.
No, but I mean David Arquette originally.
I feel. What do you mean in terms of the decision to give him the belts? Or
I'm not being so against it. I still prefer that to David Flair winning the world title.
Yeah, give me a match between David Flair and David Arquette. I know I want to win.
One with charisma.
Thing is, though, Flair's a professional as well. He doesn't have that excuse. Arquette was there for media coverage. That's why. But yeah, Flair's a professional. And also, don't forget, this match probably had to run 5-10 minutes longer than it should have done because of the fuck up in the first match.
Give more time to a better match later. It's fine.
This didn't need more time. This just needed to be done.
Yeah.
This would have been better if he'd just done Crowbar versus Vampiro.
Yes.
And had Flair and Daphne in the corner, and then had Flair get in and do some spots because it's a hardcore match, so it's fine. But make the majority of it just Vampiro and Crowbar, because I could have watched that. That would have been fine.
I also made another point, King, you didn't see this, is that if this was a training match, the coach would have stopped it by now.
Yeah.
They'd have gone, Johnny Brannigan would have done that. Right, that's enough of that. That's enough of that. Get out, cash your shit.
I think we can all agree Crowbar was the shining light of this match. That splash on the
very
outside,
much so.
on the apron, awesome.
He's still
but
active
again-
on he's very active on Twitter. Is Crowbar? He's give him another go.
He loves the business.
Who he remind me of in this match though? Like a hardcore Canyon.
Yes, I love Canyon. I'm waiting for him to
I
turn
like
back
that.
up.
I like that. I like
A hardcore Canyon, like it was he's the vibe I get off Crowbar. Just like he's cool. He's got that cool look. He's got the innovative fucking style.
Yes.
Should have been more of a star. Should have been more of a star for WCW, or WWF should have picked him up and gone, we can do something with this kid. Well, he's got decent mid carder written all over him, and just never got that shot.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think
I agree.
Crowbar's the kind of guy I'm looking forward to watching. You know, he's one of the things that I'm looking forward to watching pay-per-views for this year, kind of thing.
Yeah.
However much he's actually used, I don't know. But hopefully,
Obviously, a Crowbar and Norman Smiley interaction at some point. I want this.
Like for me, I'd be saying get Crowbar as far away from David Flair as possible. Keep him with Daphne if you want.
Yeah, but get him away.
That's fine, but get him away from him.
right.
Anyway.
So,
Yeah.
tag team match next: the Mamalukes versus the Harris Boys.
The Harris Boys. You can tell Vince Russo is in charge of this company because the Harris Boys have had a title run.
I'd put Disco Moltisanti and the Sopranos. And finally, some good entrance music from the Mamalukes. Can we just talk about that? Can we just talk about this for really quickly? Not to kind of like diverse, but the music in this company is abysmal. Innit?
Yeah.
It's all the same.
They basically had access to Turner's like royalty-free music. So when you'd hear like Jericho, like obviously like Jericho had like a royalty-free version of Even Flow by Pearl Jam, and Diamond Dallas Page had the royalty-free version of Smells Like Teen Spirit. These were all songs that they used to play on in like the background of like highlight videos from the basketball and stuff like that. And they just like cherry picked them and went boom, 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 boom. So for a company that started like that, I mean, the fucking hell, they were never going to put the efforts into the music that the music really deserved.
Jimmy Hart works there.
Did he though?
I don't know.
Did Jimmy Hart rob a wage? Yes. Did Jimmy Hart work there? It's not the same.
It's because the thing that I've got is that
shit. No matter how much of an asshole he was, he wouldn't have put up with that shit.
the thing is though is that like Jim Johnson, right? Especially at this time, everyone's music, you knew who it was immediately. And you don't have that here. I have to wait for them to come out to see who it is.
No two Jim Johnson tunes have ever sounded the same. You've like every time without fail, music will always be the best identifier in WWF because of how good Jim Johnson was. Like,
yeah. And the only reason why I knew that it was the Mamalukes is because he ripped off the Godfather theme.
Yeah,
and that's good for me. But I mean, and also, can we just another thing? I mean, I'm saying this as like a ring announcer bias now. Dave Penzer, it's not his fault, but the audio, I can't hear him. Why is that? I don't. Any technical thing here? I don't know. Hear him.
Budget, cost cutting.
See, say that though.
Shout.
At this point, they were still spending so much fucking money. So how can your audio be fucked on a pay-per-view when you're spending millions?
The thing is, right, I reckon you could hear him in the arena.
Yeah.
But WWE must do something where it goes not only through the speakers in the arena, but is transmitted onto the feed of the TV. Must be. Why can't they do that? Michael Buffer gets it.
Because it's 24 years ago.
No, but Michael Buffer gets it.
It's Michael Buffer, isn't it?
everyone can hear that guy. He's being paid $250,000 or whatever it is. But...
Isn't even saying Don. It's just his voice, just the power.
Shout.
Turn it on.
Can I shock you?
You can try.
Oh.
I actually liked this a lot. I put actually decent. I actually really liked it. You can take that, and there's my hot take.
You've got the Hamsters who, you know, they're former WWE guys. They know how to work a tag team match. And I mean, I quite like Big Vito. I thought he was great with WWE, so I appreciated that. But this match will always get a thumbs down for me because it involves Disco Inferno. And he is like a wrestling tumor. Like anything that he's attached to is fucking awful.
The thing is, though,
the reason why the NWO gimmick failed in the end. It was going well till they got Disco Inferno involved, and then it went to shit.
Wasn't he put in that group as a rib?
Yeah.
Scott Hall put him in it, didn't he?
Yep.
Not like Scott Hall to sabotage his own stuff.
I think the joke was he said like they could get anyone over if they put them in the NWO, and he was like, "Fuck off! I don't reckon we can get Disco over."
The thing is with Disco Inferno is that he looks fine. He looks pretty good. He's got a pretty good build. It's just he's pony.
It's just a personality void. It's just nothing likable about him.
You can actually put for me. You can
think about him. Sorry, Bob, to interrupt.
Yeah.
Nick said there was nothing good about. There was one good thing about Disco Inferno, and that was, ironically, his entrance music.
Disco
Fever. Music and his entrance was hilarious. Come out, Disco Fever. Yeah. I can still remember every word to that song.
It's like he's one person gets like really recognizable entrance music, and it's Disco Inferno.
Sums it up though, doesn't it? That's exactly, when you look at things that are just wrong. Again, just hit the nail on the head.
Ask me what Dean Malenko entrance music sounded like in WCW, and I'd be like, just pull the fucking trigger, because there's no point. But then you get Disco Inferno, who gets like this absolute fucking banger. It was better when he was teaming with Alex Wright, because you got to see Alex Wright dancing to his music.
Fun boys, yeah.
I miss Alex Wright. I'm hoping he comes. Is he gone? Is he gone at this point?
He comes back on literally on Wednesday on Thunder.
Like Alex Wright. He's cool.
How he comes back as well.
Yeah, I remember how he comes back.
Oh, this is gonna be fun.
Because what I did do is I watched this show, and then in the last couple of days I watched Nitro after and Thunder to kind of see, because I know that you guys are doing the whole year and I'm not, but I just wanted to see how they followed it up in the week. Oh God, I'll speak about it later. But you keep saying, I wonder if he turns up. You just wait.
Oh, right.
The thing is, about this match, not to get sidetracked like we are doing, but this match, like you said, perfectly. The Harris brothers, fuck them, but they've come from the WWF and they know how to do tag matches there, and they brought it over, because I feel like sometimes tag matches in WCW are too long.
Yeah,
and there's always too many spots, like break 'em up spots, and they didn't do that much here. So yeah. Pretty good. I give it a 2 out of 5 if we're going to do that. I don't know if we do that here, but that's what I'm doing.
That's it's the best match so far, then, shall we say?
Yeah.
So I would like to point out the finish of this one was obviously Disco shoves Vito off the top.
Yeah.
He slams the guy and pins him, and it's like great, yeah. But what still to me doesn't make sense is, wouldn't Vito still have a little bit of shit with, like, he shoved him off the top, even though if it went right, he didn't do it in good nature. Wouldn't you just, I don't know. It just made no sense to not have any heat with Disco off the back of that. Or maybe I'm just looking at it and going, everyone should have heat with Disco Inferno at all times.
I think one of the reasons why I really like this match is because the Disco Inferno got bullied.
Yeah, there's another great, like, I love the fact that they call him their protege when he's been in the company like 5 years.
I think the last point I'm going to make about the Disco Inferno, because he's a waste of space, but what I'm going to say is I put him in the same category as David Flair. I don't believe you.
Yeah.
I don't believe that you've ever listened to disco music.
Also, how can a guy make the stunner look shit? Like, the worst possible wrestler to start doing the stunner.
And he started doing it because Steve Austin did it.
Yep. Anyway,
even Shark Boy did it better.
Let's move on.
What, you want to move on to the match next that we're not talking about?
Oh, let's move on again.
No, sorry. Go on, Nick. Go on.
Like, we'll acknowledge it. The reason we're skipping it is Oklahoma versus Medusa. It's a whole bag of shit, and I just don't even really want to sort of. I might get vetoed on this, pun intended, but I don't really want to acknowledge it. The whole Oklahoma thing, it was a massive bag of wank for me. I'm quite happy to go over to the next match.
Do you want to explain quickly what Oklahoma is, who that is, and what it is?
It's Ed Ferrara. Yeah, Ed Ferrara basically taking the piss out of JR. He's dropped the droopy face, Bell's palsy kind of aspect of the character, but he's still there with his barbecue sauce and cowboy hat.
It's shocking, isn't it? The thing is
it's sorry, Bob. Before we go, it's not even about how offensive it all is towards Jim Ross and that, but it was just shit.
Who's a writer?
Awful. Ed Ferrara has no business being in a wrestling ring whatsoever. This was an excuse for him to get manhandled by two incredibly muscular women. That's all this was. This was Ed Ferrara's fucking personal little wank bank to fucking, I went out there, I got touched up by two big muscly chicks. That was it.
I did write.
Keep that shit to yourself, you fat prick.
I did write 2 lines for this match because I was in the same boat. I was like, I don't want to watch this. First one was Oklahoma, what a promo. Not in a good way, but like, oh, right. And also, Medusa and Alundra Blaze are different people.
I'm actually convinced.
Can we talk about her really quickly?
Go.
Why was she okay with this?
Getting paid? I don't know.
What? It will always make me laugh that she cut that promo about wanting real competition and then never really wrestled for the entire time she was signed to WCW. She was the biggest fucking waste of a signing. Imagine how much of a different fucking direction her career would have taken if she'd have stayed with WWE. She could have still continued to build a strong women's division off the back of her with the women who were coming in who were literally on the cusp of arriving.
Could you have seen Medusa in the WWF in January 2000?
Yeah. I could have seen Medusa. Yeah. Imagine Medusa in a similar role to what Chyna was in, but more involved with the girls because she was obviously a proper trained wrestler, whereas at that point Chyna wasn't.
Where are we now? January 2000.
Like
because Ivory was there. You could have had Medusa versus Ivory. Jackie was there. Jacqueline.
No, do you know who the champion was?
They had some good women's wrestlers. They weren't using them properly, but they were there and they were getting screen time. I'll just point out as well, so I forgot to mention Oklahoma's cruiserweight champion at this point.
Oh, sorry, I'll put that in my notes as well. Do you remember when the cruiserweight title was one of the most hotly contested belts in WCW? When every single week, every single Monday, you could guarantee you were going to see an absolute fire match because the cruiserweight title was on the line.
Could you imagine if Billy Kidman was the cruiserweight champion in this show? Like how much better it would have been.
Imagine if that opening match hadn't have been a shitstorm and it had been like those two for the cruiserweight belt.
Billy Kidman and Psychosis have a match on Nitro tomorrow, the next day, and it's fantastic. Cruiserweight title would have been great.
And this is WCW care more about the TV ratings than they do about their actual pay-per-views. Give away the biggest fucking wrestling match, one of the biggest wrestling matches in history on free TV. You know.
Okay. But right, next match.
Fatal 4-way hardcore match.
Oh no, it wasn't a fatal. Well, what do they call it? Hardcore 4 or something like that. 4-way hard or something. They didn't call it 4-way. It's a weird name, wasn't it?
They called it a. Well, Wikipedia says a 4-way match, but it did have a weird name.
Yeah, because they couldn't call it 4-way because I think that was WWE trademarked or something. I don't know.
Yeah, I can't remember. Oh, no, I didn't write that. I didn't actually think to myself, why haven't they just called it a 4-way? But
weird ass name.
It's right. For a start, I know that they were supposed to be like mentor mentee, but don't give Brian Knobbs the exact same haircut as Finley and then put him in the exact same gear and put them in the same fucking match. Why?
Who did it first, the Dudleys or them?
In order to fit Finley off Wish, so fuck off Brian Knobbs for a start.
He's Hogan's mate, isn't he?
Of course, mate. The only reason they do that a fucking job. Also, Ming's hair. This was God tier Ming. Ming with an afro, awesome. Not giving a fuck. And Norman Smiley is a fucking. Sorry, what was it? I thought I put that on before. That was it. He's an international treasure and a fucking trendsetter because he was wearing the Shield gear in this match in 2000.
Can I ask, what does Meng mean? What a shit name for a wrestler. I wouldn't say that to his face.
I thought it was like the Merciless. Like a
Merciless, yeah. Flash Gordon.
Yeah, his WCW name was always shit. It's Haku or Tonga. That's it.
Yeah. He was in the WWF within 2 weeks.
He was? With Rikishi?
Yeah, he debuted. He won the hardcore title and then just went to the Royal Rumble and never gave the belt back. You come and get it.
But Meng was awesome. Norman Smiley, like I said, is absolute. He's another one of those guys that's going to make this year entertaining as hell. Yeah. I know the stuff with him and Terry Funk down the line is just going to be so bad it's great kind of thing.
Plus, I know for a fact Norman Smiley's about to bring back one of my all-time favorite side characters in wrestling.
Don't say it. Oh.
He's bringing back Ralphus, and do you know what makes? I will say, do you know what makes Ralphus even better is when you read Jericho's book and you hear the stories about Ralphus, and it just makes him so much more entertaining to watch. Because you watch him going, "How did you think you were a star on TV?"
But the dude got laid. The dude got action, and it's like, wow, go on, Ralphus, what an absolute legend.
Nick, let me ask you. Do you like these matches? The hardcore title scene, the brawling, the split screen. Well,
yeah, I like aspects of them. Obviously, it was a diluted version of what WWE were doing better, but there is like Meng. Always got time for him. Always got time for Norman. Finley's a legend. I'll always watch a Finley match regardless, just because of association. The only downside to this for me was Knobbs. So I enjoyed it. This was the first match really of the night that I kind of got excited for.
To me, this had, like you say, three out of 4 of these guys are top tier, all brilliant wrestlers, but it just didn't click. And you said it better. You said it perfect. It was a incredibly watered down version of what WWE were putting out weekly, and they were doing so well. Their hardcore division was fantastic. It had taken like the extreme bit from ECW and mixed it with WWE's Hollywood aspect of it, and they made it work perfect. And no matter what WCW did, it just didn't click.
The thing is, the difference between the WCW and the WWF hardcore title is that the WWF hardcore title wasn't about hardcore wrestling. It was it was a comedy belt in a way, but in a good way. It wasn't a joke like the. You remember the 24/7 title that they had the other year? The difference is that the hardcore title was on SmackDown a lot, which is the more family friendly show. So they had to be more creative with how they did the matches.
It was the 24/7 rule stuff with like Crash Holly fucking running around a kid's play centre, or getting pinned in his sleep by Joe Briscoe.
Joe Briscoe, yeah.
You know what I mean? Stuff like that. That's what made the hardcore title more entertaining. It started out as a hardcore belt. I know what you're saying, but it did start out as a proper. All these matches are going to be hardcore matches, and it was gifted to Mick Foley. And then
Al Snow, Big Boss Man, Raven, Rhino, Big Show and Kane at WrestleMania 17. It started off legitimately like, hardcore.
Stuff with you right now. You listed all those names off. Not once did you say Road Dogg.
He's a big fish in a little pond.
Hey, he's a hardcore fish in a big pond.
That's the one.
Can't believe he had one of the. Do you know what? He never gets the fucking love for his hardcore title run was fantastic, and he never gets the love.
You know what's really impressive with this so far is that we've talked about the WWF during every match.
Yeah. I'm not doing they won the war.
So Brian Knobbs, when did he become a hardcore guy? Because I know that he was in the Nasties, and then there was like a really big gap, wasn't there? I don't know where he'd gone, because they
wasn't much before this.
They got rejected from being, because they wanted to be in the NWO, and then they got rejected.
That was
and then I feel like that's what I mean. I feel like I don't know what he's done since then.
No, I don't feel like we've seen them since then.
He just kind of came back. I think it wasn't much before this, really. I think it was only a few months, kind of before this, that they kind of brought him back, and this kind of story started.
Because the thing is, there's like the Nasties. I remember some decent hardcore tag title matches with them. Like there's an old WCW one with those two. Cactus Jack and another guy who I can't remember his name.
Max Payne.
Oh my God! How did I forget that was his name? But yeah, that's the match. Yeah, Cactus Jack and Max Payne against the Nasty Boys. That was that was a really good hardcore match, like for the period. So,
but it's yeah. I mean, it's his level. It's his level, isn't it? You can't see Brian Knobbs being the TV champion or US champion. So why not? It's a division that no one really cares about right now. So why not? Why not?
Exactly.
Question for you, really quickly. Would you rather be battered by Meng and win, or batter Oklahoma and lose?
Oh damn! I will take the loss with dignity and batter Oklahoma. So all that is right.
Yeah, because I can lose that by like ref stoppage and me refusing to stop, and then the ref reverses the decision. So yeah, I'll take that.
I like it.
Plus, I don't even want to be in the same fucking country as Ming. Like, someone told me Haku is in the UK. I'd book a flight out of the country just to be safe. Because
here you go. Here's a question. Here's a question for you. Here's a question for you then. Who's the toughest wrestler in the UK right now?
Right now? Oh, that's a hard one, that, you know.
Ooh, I'll leave that with you.
Do you know what? I've got a cop-out answer if you want me cop-out answer.
The infamous champion.
No. He's not a man, he's a monster.
That's true. That's a good point.
My cop-out answer would be Dan Maloney, but he's not in the country right now, so it doesn't...
No, I'll give it you.
Yeah.
Sorry, I digress.
I'd say Driller's one of the hardest. Driller's probably one of the hardest lads in the business. Well, Jay after.
I'll answer that at some point. I'll process it. So this match, obviously, I enjoyed it. You know, it didn't click for you two by the sounds of it. So
nah, I wasn't really bothered.
Up next, it was a Billy Kidman match, right?
It just didn't click enough for me.
Didn't click. That's fine. Kidman Saturn next.
Again,
Yeah.
Yep. I liked this match. Again, I like Saturn, and hot take. Perry Saturn's elbow drop off the top rope was savage worthy.
That's not a hot take because we all 100% agree with it.
I thought
fair enough. I'll just do all right.
Saturn's elbow, Jesus Christ. It's unbelievable how smooth it is.
It was the comparison to Savage that I was expecting a bit of backlash for, but that's fine.
No.
I would put it up there with I'd say here's Savage's elbow, here is Saturn's. But
see,
Savage came first, and it's the iconic one. That's probably the only reason.
I go Savage is here, and Saturn's is here. And the reason why is because Savage doesn't necessarily jump as high as Saturn does.
But like I say,
it's just I don't know. Savage's is iconic. Saturn's is great, but Savage is the GOAT when it comes to the elbow.
Just throwing out these hot takes, guys. Just throwing them
out. But obviously, another Billy Kidman match for you both to enjoy. Like I said, I enjoyed it. I'll put that down to Saturn. I think he's somebody that kind of I love. He never gets the love he deserves from me. I think Saturn was very cool, and even the moppy stuff. Who doesn't love it?
Does Kidman use the X Factor as a finish?
It was like a reversal every time I saw him do it, though.
That's what I mean. Like, I don't know if he actually uses that as a finish, but he did that. Like, he obviously got the win with the facebuster reversal from the powerbomb. Flips out of it, boom, catches him 1, 2, 3. Which, if he's been using the X Factor as a finish, like that facebuster, then by all means, yeah. But has he? I don't know. No. I've no point of reference.
Because his finish is the shooting star press.
Yeah.
So don't know. And I've been ragging on Billy Kidman during this, but he's actually very good. I actually think, and he's way over. He's so over. Like, he came out 3 times, and the pop was like as big each time. And he comes out again tomorrow on Nitro, opens the show. Everyone's going mental for him.
I mean, he was over like fuck.
And he looks great. Like, he looks great at the time. Like,
I don't know. I prefer the Ravens Flock Kidman. He looks like he's just been on a 4-day smack bender. That's the Kidman I know and love.
Seen a few of them round your way. Is that it?
The Kidman just coming out scratching himself like this will never not be entertaining.
Yeah, like I say, I enjoyed it. So again though, it's a means to an end. I don't know whether he hit the X Factor. Don't know whether he's doing like a Bret Hart. He's trying to. Obviously, he won the Malenko match by DQ. Maybe they had another move originally planned for that. Maybe he was going to win. The first 2 matches in 2 different ways. To keep it fresh. A la Bret Hart '93 King of the Ring kind of thing. So.
I mean, yeah, that would have made sense.
I enjoyed this one. There was a good table spot towards the end.
Oh, yeah.
They set a table up halfway through the match, and then they just kind of forgot about it. Yeah. And what does he do? Does he back drop him? Does he back body drop him over, or he does a belly to belly?
It's an elevated belly to belly, and back of Kidman's head though, just kind of catches the apron.
Just grazes the apron. It's pretty scary.
But it was again. Saturn had strength, man. It was very smooth.
Can I just right? Can we move? Obviously, we're moving on to the next one now. But before we actually get to the match, can I just say one thing about this? Really, had me giggling to myself. We got to a Stevie Ray promo where Stevie Ray's walking around the hood saying about Booker T's forgot about the hood. Goes up every person he goes up to asks him where Booker T is for a start, which I thought was hilarious.
Hey man, where's Booker T?
Hey Stevie, where's Booker T? It's just.
Hey Stevie, where's the real star?
But then the vignette finishes, and we cut to Mean Gene with Stevie Ray to get reactions from Stevie Ray about the promo.
I 100% believe that was like, I feel like if anyone's going to have any clout to kind of decide who they're going to interview, it's Mean Gene. I feel like he's ribbing him there, and he's done it like, let's get your reaction, Stevie Ray. You just spent a week in Houston. Let's get you to react to your own promos.
It was just so funny. And then Booker T comes out and cuts a promo. And one, he's wearing just the worst looking, like, I don't know, it's like a singlet, but it's also a waistcoat. What the fuck? Like, whose idea was that? They need sacking, right?
And it's bright red. It is bright red leather or PVC as well.
Singlet, waistcoat combination fucking thing. He looked atrocious, right?
Who wore that?
Booker T.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, he did.
And then he's with Midnight, and he's like, I don't need my brother. I got Midnight. Oh, sorry, that voice was really. I was just trying to do a Booker T impression, but which went awfully.
I liked it.
They're like, no, don't need me brother anymore. I've only got Midnight. Right now, let me just skip the entire match, right? Because the match was Booker T versus Stevie Ray. If you've never seen Booker T versus Stevie Ray, just type it into YouTube. Pick a year. It doesn't matter. You're getting the same fucking match, right? It is what it is. They're two brothers knocking shit out of each other, and it's always going to be, it was very much the same all the time. But then you get to the finish of this one, and then Ahmed Johnson, who looks like he's Ahmed Johnson, comes running to the fucking ring.
He's eating all those knee pads he puts on his legs.
Mate, I used to see him running incredibly loosely. Starts knocking shit out of Booker T. Stevie Ray knocking shit out of Booker T. Midnight, who's the only person who Booker T needs to have his back, stands at ringside and does absolutely fuck all. Booker T is a terrible judge of character. I'm just going to say it.
I'll just say, again, can I shock you? I actually enjoyed this match.
Yeah. Oh, no. Me too. I won't take what I said. You could watch any Booker T versus Stevie Ray match, and that's what it was, that same match. But didn't mean I didn't enjoy it.
Big T, Ahmed Johnson, he looks terrible. Like, I know that he wasn't in the best shape when he was in his pomp. He was, big arms, big chest, but he had a bit of a belly.
Yeah.
But he looks really bad.
Looking WCW.
And who in okay, the answer is Vince Russo, but who in 2000 wants to see Ahmed Johnson? Not me.
I thought you were going to carry on there. You're like, we want to see Ahmed Johnson doing this or doing that. No, you were just like, no. Who wants to see Ahmed Johnson? One. And yeah, you're right.
Yeah, no.
It's crazy though. I mean, just to touch upon though, I'll say me and JC were watching the 97 stuff, and we were both sat there and we were both legitimately amazed at the reaction Ahmed used to get. In 97, the fans went nuts for him. And obviously that's when Russo was their kind of thing. So in Russo's defense, I can't believe I'm actually saying, but the dude's like, thinking maybe he got a reaction once. Let's try again. Obviously, it didn't work, but
saying that though, to be fair, he got a reaction.
Yeah.
There was a pop. There was a shocked pop when Big T made his way to the ring, like when Ahmed come running out. And you had the commentators not obviously not saying his name, but saying, like, we know who that is, and then obviously tell him Big T, and obviously they got boom named. But yeah, I mean, he got the initial reaction, but the problem is that he wasn't the Ahmed of 97.
Could you imagine if 97 Ahmed, after he got taken out by the Nation, that was him being written off, and then he turns up in WCW in 97, 98, he'd have been over like
game changer.
anything.
Game changer.
Yeah.
Ted Turner would have been on Raw in 2001.
But to sum up in that match, it was fine.
Yeah. I'd give that a solid 5 out of 10.
Yeah. Like I say, it's not a bad match. You've seen it numerous times. Doesn't mean it's a bad match. You know what you're getting. That's cool. Yeah. Like it's a tasty meal that you have every week. It's just you enjoy it, you like it, you eat it. It's all good. It does a job. You move on.
Yep. And let's move on to. Sorry, but I'd need to say this. It's Tank Abbott from Friends.
Oh, yes.
What I have to say about this match is Jerry Flynn would have won if he hadn't got rid of the mullet. Lost all his power. Got rid of that mullet. Lost all of his power. That's it. Buzz cut against Tank Abbott. It's never going to happen, mate. Sorry.
No. I think it ran for 1 minute and 19 seconds. And you heard the rumours that Tank Abbott was this close to getting made world champion right before this pay-per-view.
Yeah.
Yep. Wasn't this when Vince Russo was put on a committee because he suggested that?
Yep. They kicked him off. They kicked him off. That was just before this pay-per-view, hence why Sullivan is back as head booker for this show kind of thing, on the back of Russo, walking out because they decided that you can't be trusted to do this by yourself.
I understand, okay, I'll just say it. I understand why he said it. Because he's a legit fighter who has a terrible record, I'll just say. But he's a legit fighter, and I can see it. But have you seen him?
Yeah, it's...
Quack, 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 quack.
I think the thing is, I think Russo will have gone, I wanted to make Shamrock world champion.
Yeah.
I believe that an Ultimate Fighter should be world champion. Who have we got? Tank Abbott. Shit, yeah, all right, just make him world champion. Let's do that. Fuck.
God, just say as well.
We won't exist for another at least 5 years. Fuck.
Can I just say as well, the whole use of the word description, this is a shoot fight. It's like, hang on a minute. So what? Obviously we know as fans, but we don't want it fucking saying. So you're literally telling us all the other fights are, just pretend, yeah.
If they didn't have to say shoot fight, they could have literally just said under MMA rules.
Yeah.
It wasn't even MMA back then. They would have literally just said it's Ultimate Fighting rules.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
He's a UFC former UFC fighter. That's extreme combat or something like that. You don't need to go. Oh, that's shoot because what we do is fake.
Exactly.
And shit on your own product.
Jerry
Vince, WWE and Vince, they always work the ways around it. Like with Shamrock, they made Shamrock look like a fucking beast based off his UFC stuff.
Mm.
So I don't know. Other people could have done it.
Jerry Flynn's a big dude, isn't he?
Yeah.
Jerry Flynn. Ooh. Never really seen him before. He's a pretty big dude.
Yeah. Against anybody else, he looked the business.
Buff Bagwell versus Dean.
Oh, God, yeah.
It wasn't. It was the And my first note is that I will never, ever, ever take Buff Bagwell seriously. I refuse to. It's just never going to happen.
Do you know one thing? This match had. Sorry to interrupt. This match had a video package.
It did. A pretty long video package, which is crazy. When you consider that you've got the Terry Funk versus Kevin Nash match, which has no video package, just a quick flash to a promo from the night before or some shit. It's terrible. But then obviously you get a 2-minute package about Buff Bagwell, DDP, and Kimberly. It's crazy.
So you don't think Buff is the stuff?
I don't think Buff is the stuff. I don't think Buff even had the stuff. I don't even think he knows what the stuff is.
He's very over.
Can we just point out DDP's sort of promo as well when he's like about, the ladies love Buff, but so do the guys. But, what's the point?
2000.
Yeah. You got Simon Spade, you've just made Buff look more appealing to more people. Who was the heel?
Buff, I want to say, but he's trying to doink somebody else's wife. That's pretty.
I want to say Buff.
This is the thing, because I'm sure at this point DDP had turned heel. He hadn't at this point.
No.
Right, okay.
Oh no,
well,
sorry. Yeah, no, he had. Yeah, the New Jersey.
Yeah, the New Jersey.
Whatever. Yeah. But I think he turned face again because obviously a few months down the line, he's like the face of the company with Arquette against Jeff Jarrett, isn't he?
Yeah, and then Arquette hands on him.
Yeah.
We always have to bear in mind. You've always got to bear in mind that there is a legitimate reboot of storylines.
Yes.
So he could have been a heel all the way up until April, until they decided to stop doing it, and then just made him a babyface again.
No, but I think he was still face because he was heavily involved with the Ready to Rumble stuff, and he's heavily involved with publicising, the media side of things. So I think he was like the face of the company at this point for that.
Yeah. I will say that this match was okay.
It's because they got to go out and about and kind of, do random shit up and down the aisle in the internet area. The little WCW.com is about to get live and interactive with Buff's little elbow drop off the big cardboard stand.
I can't believe that Vince McMahon didn't like Buff Bagwell.
He probably did to look at, and then he saw him in the ring and was like, no.
See, this match, I thought the match itself was all right, but I've got problems with the finish.
Yes, thank you.
Talk us through it.
Right, so this is a last man standing match, right? We have a spot right at the end of the match where DDP goes for the diamond cutter, and apparently Buff Bagwell holds onto the top rope. Yet both men go down and hit the floor, so he definitely didn't hold the top rope. And then Buff gets back to his feet before Page does. So basically, Page knocked himself out with his own finishing move. And then, just the icing on the shit cake that this finish was, is that this is a last man standing match, and not 30 seconds after the bell, both men are up and fucking knocking shit out of each other again. And then Buff's posing at the end. It's like, this is a last man standing match. Like, the premise of this is that only one of you walks away. So how the fuck are both of you walking away at the end of this? The match itself, all right. The finish ruined it. It ruined the whole match. Like, it was terrible storytelling, and I hate to say this about DDP because one of my faves as a kid, but fuck me, man, awful.
Can I just point out, you guys have seen the Naked Gun film, right?
Yes.
Right. Slick Johnson counting the 10 counts. I was getting as Leslie Nielsen being an umpire in Naked Gun. It's just so OTT, just so sort of fucking playing to the crowd. It's like, it didn't even look like he was registering the rest. He was just loving, all the attention being on him whilst he was counting to 10.
But again, this for me was WCW taking a WWF concept. Now, I know obviously that the last man standing match, it's a play on the Texas Death Match, and it's been around for years. But it being a last man standing, it is a WWE thing, right? And again, this is WCW taking a WWF premise and just not knowing how to do it properly.
Because they don't have people who can book finishes.
Yeah.
Like, I know that, say what you want about him, but that was Pat Patterson's job, was to book finishes of matches, and then it was for Vince to approve. And then, but they don't seem, the thing is with WCW is I feel like no one talks to each other. No one, it's very much, WCW is very much a company that is ask for forgiveness rather than for permission. They'll just do it and then worry about it after.
It's like throwing shit at the wall and seeing what sticks, but they're showing you the process of throwing the shit at the wall. Not just the shit that's stuck at the end. Like, we're getting to see all that shit get launched. And
I forgot this was the last man standing match until you said.
Yeah.
Completely forgot. The thing is as well, these two wrestle each other again on Nitro tomorrow. in a regular match.
See, there's no consequences, there's no stakes.
Kimberly Page is the special guest ref.
Oh, for fuck's sake. Why wasn't she the special guest ref in this one, then?
She can't count to 10.
More sense on the pay-per-view.
Don't know.
That would have made it feel a little bit more special or something if she was involved in that aspect. Like I said, that would have just given it that bit more of a pay-per-view edge kind of thing. It's like, okay, you know, plus it just, yeah, it would have put an extra dimension to the match, giving them something to do, more options, you know, for the finish. She could have turned on one of them. She could have helped somebody. It could have just made it a bit more interesting. But as you said earlier, King, you know, it's like they save all the good ideas for TV, not the pay-per-views.
Silly.
Right.
So, right. Now it's good old Terry Funk.
No,
No,
it's not.
God damn it, I want to get to this match. Come on.
It's Billy Kidman versus The Wall.
Oh, fuck.
Oh, fuck.
Right, okay. This was meh until the finish. This is a reverse of the last one. The match itself was blah, but the finish, the way Wall catching him off the top, and it wasn't like a regular, he lands and then he picks him up. No, Wall literally just like swings him off the fucking the top rope and just choke slams him down. Beautiful. Looked fantastic. That's all I remember about that match, though.
The thing is with this, is before the match starts, you don't actually know who the opponent is. It's a mystery opponent. Shane Douglas comes out as part of the Revolution and cuts this promo. He must have been injured because it would have been him otherwise. I'm sure of it. But if you were Kevin Sullivan, sorry, I can't freaking keep up. Kevin Sullivan, surely, and it might hurt the Wall's feelings, but surely you just say, Dean, go out there and make up for this, please.
Yeah.
Whatever match you want to have now in this cage, go on. That would have been, I mean, the match was, again, fine, I guess.
But you know what?
Like,
from a storyline sense, why not send Dean out and then send Perry out as well? If you're trying to get over the fact that the Revolution are trying to take out the Filthy Animals, which is what I was getting from that, like from the Shane Douglas promo, it's like the Revolution are taking out the Filthy Animals. So why is the Wall doing it when you've as you say, you've had a wasted opportunity with Dean Malenko? You throw Dean Malenko back out there. Halfway through the match, Perry Saturn comes running out because it's no DQ.
And the thing is, as well, is that the Revolution have been taking out the Filthy Animals. So they've taken out Conan. They've taken out Ray. And you're telling me that those lads can't take out Billy Kidman without the help of the Wall?
Billy Kidman. Guerrero as well.
And Eddie Guerrero. It's Billy Kidman. No offense, Bill.
It's the wife beater vest. It's the wife beater vest.
It's the source of all his powers.
Conan wore the same wife beater, so I'm not having that.
Gone from a different shop.
I think it's Vince Russo's racistly insensitive booking. Not only the white guy in the Filthy Animals can get over. Sorry, guys.
Another question for you guys. I know I'm full of these questions for you tonight to get you thinking. Is this the most random pairing for a cell match you've ever seen? What,
Billy Kidman versus the Wall?
Mm-hmm. I can't think of any other cell match that has any two random people in it. That just doesn't work.
It is random on a video game mode, random character selecting it.
Oh, that's 12-year-olds, isn't it? Picking two characters and going, what the hell in a cell match?
Go on, what's the worst Hell in a Cell match then? Because I would still put that up there as well. Actually, saying that, I was very shocked to find out we've had 53 Hell in a Cell matches now.
Seth versus The Fiend.
Seth Rollins' Fiend. Damn it, yes. Yes.
Yeah. In terms of being enraged, at the end, there's actually a Hell in a Cell match between Finley, Sheamus and Mark Henry. Is that right?
Yeah,
it's when Mark Henry was the world champion.
Yeah, they use the steps. He gives him the world's strongest slam on the steps of the finish.
It was bad. Yeah, really not good.
Right. Oh, yeah. It's the end of Billy Kidman's trilogy. He comes up against the Wall, gets an amazing choke slam, and loses. But he's protected because he's had a few matches beforehand. So everybody kind of comes out as a winner.
I was going to say, if they get Kidman over on this night, they succeeded.
Yeah.
Yep. Right, guys. I will admit I didn't watch this next one. I kind of skipped it, so this is all you.
Right. It's just Terry Funk being Terry Funk. The old age outlaws, as he referred to them all on the Nitro before. Fighting for the commissionership. Funk wins, he remains commissioner. Nash wins, Nash becomes commissioner. And
then art imitated life because Nash won.
I just want to point out the clothesline over the top. Oh no, actually I want to point out prior to that, Nash hitting Funk with like a steel chair, I think it was, and Funk just being like, fuck. And he's just like, whoa, easy. And then Nash trying to clothesline Funk over, and Funk's just kind of not going over, and then he goes over, and he's just literally hanging upside down for about 2 seconds, and then just slides down onto his head. It's like, I'll put a little picture of that on when I edit this, because it's just, I must have watched it about 5 times, just seeing Funk slide, and Nash just turns around and he's like.
Then Nash, with no hesitation whatsoever, powerbombs him through those fucking chairs.
It's like, I'm going to kill you, old man.
Yeah.
It was awesome.
The old man, and then just powerbombs the shit out of Terry Funk. And do you know what? I'm sorry. I'll never complain about a Kevin Nash match. It was highly entertaining watching Kevin Nash powerbomb the fuck out of Terry Funk.
Nick, you'll know. When was Kevin Nash in charge?
It was around 98, wasn't it? Because he was the booker because that's the whole thing, is he was the booker when he took the belt off of Goldberg. That's the whole argument.
Said he was. He says he wasn't.
He said, he's gone on record multiple times saying that he wasn't. He didn't get it till after he dropped the title back to Hogan.
Okay.
So it was.
So I was just thinking, he's been in gone at this point.
99. He wouldn't have had the book at this point, and he didn't have the book beforehand.
The 99 time then, sorry. I'm kind of right, sorry, I must have, apologies.
It's hard to keep up with.
Apologise to Big Sexy.
Yeah, I apologise, sorry, Big Sexy. Yeah, because he turned around and said, why would I book myself to lose by a finger poke, any kind of thing as well. So it makes no sense. Yeah, sorry, my bad. Right, main event time. It's gone from being Sid Vicious against Bret Hart to Sid Vicious against Mr. Benoit, who obviously, me and JC had this issue many, many times. Thankfully, we'll only have it on this show of talking about Benoit. But
separate. When you're doing stuff like this, I'm not saying I go right. I sit at home and enjoy watching Chris Benoit matches. But when you're doing shit like this, you've got to separate the art from the artist.
Yes, thank you. That's it. That's what I was. Yeah.
We're not talking about Benoit in a way that we're like sitting here praising him. We're talking about him because he features in the match on the show that we've got to talk about.
I think it's when it's retrospective. When it's retrospectively, it's different.
Yeah.
So I was always a mark for Sid. I'm one of these guys. He's just kind of like, I think he wasn't the greatest, but he always kind of got a reaction out of me, and the fans always popped for Sid. He just looks like your creator wrestler, perfect template.
Well, coming to the ring, fist bumping people on the way to the ring before anyone else was doing it. It was cool as fuck. I loved Sid.
I didn't appreciate Sid until the last couple of years. He's great.
He's fantastic. Sid was on top. First WrestleMania I ever watched was WrestleMania 8. So, Sid was the heel when I got into wrestling. It was Sid and Flair were the heels. So I was like, okay, I can get with this. And then everything I saw Sid do, it just got better and better. And sometimes for the worst reasons, because he was unintentionally one of the funniest fucking dudes in wrestling.
He's got my favorite. He's got one of my favorite lines ever in a promo at WrestleMania 8.
Is it the? Can I do that again? We're live now.
No, it's the. He's been interviewed by Mean Gene, and he just goes, "Shut up, you fat, bald-headed little oaf." Great, so good.
It was all about the finish for this match, because the finish for this match intentionally bullshit, and he painted it stupidly and so bad. Benoit puts his foot under the ropes. 1, 2. Oh, on. Oh, no, he's got his foot under the ropes. Okay. literally not even 10 seconds later, fucking, he's in the crossface. Sid's got his foot under the ropes. Ring the bell. It's over.
Good match, though.
Yeah, good match. But again, ruined by a bullshit finish.
Just to wrap this up, the next night on Nitro, the show opens with fucking Arn Anderson explaining that he made a mistake, obviously in kayfabe, saying that he saw Benoit's foot but he didn't see Sid's because he was too caught up in the match, which is, the way you get around it. And I just have to say, they are the luckiest company are going at that point, because Benoit left anyway, and they've done that, to sort themselves out. I just want to say, yeah, exactly. Just want to say the best part of this match was the fan helping Sid get to his feet.
Yeah, come on, you can do it, Sid, come on.
I don't know where he is. I don't know how old he'd be now. He'd be in his 50s now. I hope he's having a great day.
Yeah. Even the commentators acknowledged, like, oh, that would have really helped somebody like Sid. That would have fired him up. Like, yeah, just. But yeah, I loved it. It was a good little man versus big man. Benoit was going for the knees, chopping him down, getting him down on his knees, and hitting the head shots. Yeah, I enjoyed it.
When Benoit hit the Air Canada at the end, and then Sid like powers him off, like oh my god, the kick out. That was probably moments of the match for me. That
it's definitely one of Sid's best matches.
Oh yeah, definitely.
It might even be his best match. I will say, as we've not really mentioned it at all, just really quickly before we go, Bobby Heenan could not give a flying toss about this product. He sits there all night making jokes, but the problem is that Mike Tenay and Tony Schiavone don't sell it.
Yeah.
You know how Gorilla would be like, what are you talking about? Yeah, none of it. And it's just like he would rather be anywhere else right now.
Mate, I love Bobby Heenan so much. I felt like he was wasted at WCW in the end. He really was, man. Such a fucking talent.
Definitely,
right.
Definitely.
So as a whole, this show as a whole, the whole pay-per-view, it had its moments. I know you enjoyed it, Bobby. It entertained the crap out of you.
Overall thoughts, just to wrap up for me, not bad. Did the best they could with the hand that they were dealt. They just need to focus more, trim the fat, and they're good to go. I enjoyed it. I would recommend watching it. I actually would.
There are some glimmers of light, some little tiny, teeny, weeny gems of gold in this otherwise shit Sunday of the pay-per-view. If you're a Billy Kidman fan, this is the pay-per-view for you. Like, you know what I mean? This is the one.
But yeah, that's the show as a whole. We've kind of broken it down as best as we can. Talk the good bits, talk the bad bits. And it's, yeah, I enjoyed it. I'm looking forward to see what comes next. I've watched it and I'm like, right, I want to watch the next one now. I want to see what the aftermath is.
I think I'm going to follow in Bobby's footsteps. I'm going to check out the Nitro and the Thunder after this one. See what the fallout's like.
Nitro's okay. Thunder's dreadful. Don't.
Thunder was always dreadful.
Gentlemen, I'm gonna have to, like I say, I'm gonna have to run. So let people know where they can find you on the socials, and but myself and Mr. King will be back next month for the next pay-per-view. But yeah, just let people know where they can see you and find you.
I'll go. You can find me on Twitter or X at the Bobby Cash. I'm on Instagram as well. Not hard to find. Book me, because I'm really good at what I do, but no one sees it enough. Thanks.
We'll get you booked, Bobby. We'll get you booked. Mr. King, obviously, I know you've got the infamous show coming up. I've been seeing lots of posts about that. So,
Infamous presents I Would Die For You, 26th of October in Runcorn. Tickets are still available. You can get me on the socials at DJ King1268 on X, on Instagram, on Facebook. You can get Infamous at infamous_WP on X, on Instagram, on Facebook. on everything, everything really, just basically all the socials and whatnot. Thank you very much for having us, Bobby. Thank you so much for joining us. It's been an absolute pleasure. And
Sorry, I've managed to waffle for too long.
Do you know what you people should do? You should book me and Bobby Cash as your commentary team.
Hey,
that'd be amazing.
I like it.
I would pay to see that. I'd pay to listen to that.
See, there you go.
So,
You got one paying customer already. Book DJ King and Bobby Cash for all your commentary needs.
Yes, and
Cash King. Cash King.
Cash King.
There you go. Cash King.
Cash. And I'll be back for Slamboree, but if you want me again, you just tell me.
Dude,
I'll be here.
Awesome. That'd be amazing, mate. Yeah, and honestly, thank you. As DJ said, thank you for joining us. Sorry I've had to cut it short. It's just, I think, obviously, episode 1, we'll work on the timings of stuff, and but it's going to be a fun journey.
Say that again.
Gentlemen.
I said, hopefully, good name, good snappy name for the show too.
Yes. Leave it in the comments. Hit us up on socials. Let us know what we should call it. I'm just working from scratch at the minute, so again, we'll figure something out. But for now, thank you for watching, and we will see you again very, very soon. Goodbye.
Take care, guys.